Hello and welcome to Hooray IELTS Writing Task 1. We will be discussing process diagram. Here you are given a building plan layout. Here's a brief description of the type of question that you will be given. You may find an image of a building or floor plan given. You need to identify the main features and select and report them using the correct structure. Before that, you must remember the criteria for IELTS academic writing, and they are task achievement, coherence and cohesion, grammatical range and accuracy, and lexical resource. In task achievement, make sure you analyze all parts of the task and you properly organize and lay them out. In coherence and cohesion, you need to use proper sentences and linking phrases to connect your ideas and include all the points given in the flow plan. Grammatical range and accuracy includes using proper tenses and other parts of speech. Lexical resource refers to the vocabulary you need to use to describe your image correctly. Some of the strategies that you must employ while doing this type of question are as follows. Read the task introduction for the flow plan very carefully. When you start to write, use keywords to rephrase your sentences, especially the first paragraph. Note whether the compass is given or not. This will help you in locating the features. While doing so, notice any sub-feature or any dividing feature in the center of the flow plan, as you might need to include these. Also check for unlabeled parts. Name them while you're making your notes. Identify a logical starting point, then identify the middle point for the flow plan. This will help separate the data into paragraphs. You can also number the key points so that you don't miss out on anything important. Now the structure for this is as follows. Your paragraph 1 or opening paragraph should consist of the title. Use your own words, do not modify the meaning, and briefly paraphrase the title using synonyms. Move on to the next paragraph, write your overview. Here mention the starting point. You can start writing the overview here by mentioning the salient features. Following this, you will move on to your body paragraph 3, your main body paragraph 1, where you will mention your following features, dividing features, central features, and elaborate and talk about them. Come to paragraph 4, just write 1 or 2 sentences here, end the report with the conclusion. You could rephrase the overview statement over here. Here are some key vocabulary tips to do this type of question, and they are: use prepositions depending on what you see in the image or the flow plan and where things are placed or positioned. You can use the words at, in, around, across, or on. At the same time, if you want to observe some changes, you could use appropriate vocabulary, especially verbs. And some of them are as follows: has been modified, there is no longer, moving the toilets to the middle, have been removed, replacing. They all denote changes that have taken place. Now here is a sample image of a flow plan. As you can see on the left, you've been given a basic flow plan with no changes. Some things have been mentioned, but on the right, if you go further, the numbers highlighted in red actually denote the changes that have been made. So when you're doing your structuring, ensure that you take a note of all of these points. Look at them very carefully, make comparisons and contrasts between the two, and ensure you take them down. Now here is a sample answer. Using the correct vocabulary and the right kind of phrases, you will actually be able to do this task quite effectively. Now if you want to increase your lexical resource, you can use words like alterations instead of changes. Okay, residential building has already been mentioned. Talk about the difference that you can see, the main feature. Again, as mentioned before, use correct prepositions and other location-based words to denote what is where, as well as changes. The words highlighted here are point of entry, between the sitting room and the kitchen, on the left side of the house. Point of entry and left side of the house denote locations. Between the sitting room and the kitchen again denote locations, but the correct word used here is between. If you move further, anything that denotes change has also been mentioned, like has been modified, moving the toilets to the middle of the room, replacing. Instead of saying this was put instead of this, you could use the word replacing, which will reduce the number of words you're using, at the same time bring out the meaning more effectively. Ensure that you're using the correct tense. As it is mentioned here, the wardrobes have been removed. This also talks about subject-verb agreement. So be very, very careful. If you are adding any feature, make sure you use the correct phrase. For example, here it says, in addition to. So this is the basic gist of how your answer should be. Make sure you write it very clearly. There is clarity. If you use the correct words and phrases, you won't have to go overboard with your word limit. Here are some general writing tips. When doing this task, use correct vocabulary. Do not use contracted forms of words like don't or won't or can't. Please write do not, will not, cannot. When looking at the task, identify keywords, analyze the topic thoroughly. It is always suggested that you write in the passive form. While doing so, use pronouns and transitional words. Coherence and cohesion should always be maintained. There has to be a proper flow and connectivity between ideas. Do not use informal language or slang. Maintain the academic style. Since this is academic report writing, make sure your ideas are logically organized. That is the end. Thank you.